Well, is it going to show my stream on my page? I gotta copy that thing again. Dude, I forgot about that. For shame. It's been too long. Wait for the chat to load. The second that chat loads up on my screen, I can start. Until then. There we go. It took its little time, it's alright. Not rushing. Alright, we are ready. Alright, so we're going to be talking about egregores. We're gonna go about this in different routes. We're gonna not only talk about like what they are in the spiritual sense. We're also gonna talk about what they are in the physical sense. It's kind of like how to see or catch on to when one's happening or when you create one, because we're always making them unconsciously, and though it's hard not to create something that that is birthed within that instant, it is always good to be aware of the ones that you feed into, learning how to dissolve them, things of that nature. We're also going to talk about how to make your own, and before we get to that, I'm gonna do a disclaimer so that I am just protected under spiritual law for informing people, because people will do what they got to do. And it's also just breaking down the dogma of egregores and servitors and all these beings being bad or evil, when it's really just the user, and the user is also the creator, which would be you, the individual. But regardless, egregores are thought forms that are created and agreed upon. Now, even if they're not, they have to be agreed upon in the sense of there being like that mutual attraction. So if you're thinking of something and you go, oh, that's a stupid idea, you've now created an entity that's, attached to that idea that's stupid. It's now going to be a hard thing to get over, because you're going to have that bug of, oh, that's going to be stupid in the background. You've now attached to something. But the term egregor comes from Greek. I have no idea how to pronounce it. I think it's egregoroi, and it just means watchers. It was originally tied to the fallen angels are watchers in the Book of Enoch. That's where they were mainly talked about a lot. But these are just energetic beings, and even physical beings, in the sense of like living brands and businesses that grow due to focus. And that's the only reason why egregores can grow, is because send focus towards it. And we're also going to talk a little bit about the egregore with the spiritual community and how that's going as well, because when you talk about putting focus on an egregore, it can get a little bit confusing. A lot of people think like, oh, any attention to it is going to be attention that's going to allow this egregore to grow. Well, not exactly. When you're messing with in the terms of that, of different thought forms being in different ways, it's the same way as if you would manifest something, right? So let's say you're trying to manifest getting like $1,000 or whatever, and you're like constantly trying to do that, but in the back of your mind you're like, that's not going to happen, that's not going to happen. That switches, that flip, that puts it back at, oh, so since not everyone's agreed, it goes back in the middle until someone wins this argument of if it's going to happen or not. It's going to be, on the opposing force, because there's nothing else that's going to fight back on it, right? Egregores don't go around fighting. They just go and they serve. They are there to generate and to do what they're made for, whatever their intent was to be. Whether it's to be a brand like McDonald's or Nike, or just to be a thought form, or like a group. This even goes into like making oaths and stuff, even religion, like Jesus in itself, where people are attaching this fleshly man or these statues or these idols to different religion, not even just like Christianity, but just different religions and stuff. They are creating an egregor, or a thought form, an energetic propulsion in that statue that makes it that living thing. Now it has that energy in it. Now whatever you deem that being to be is in that place, by your own definition, not by the definition that someone else has in that sense. But again, egregores are just not like a spiritual thing. It is a very physical thing. Like it's even like the fact that a chair was made. The chair is, I don't know. These are just like really funny examples, but they're real when you get down to it, because an egregore had to be formed, or a thought from it had to have energy put into it to be created for that thing to happen. This is all like esoteric stuff, of course, though. The way we're going to talk about it, but the way it's functioning in reality is a very like real thing. But someone had to sit and focus on the chair, and then it grew into other things, and that comes from that egregore being passed down, that thought form being passed down, and it's still being used, it's still being funded by some form of external force to be made into different things. That's why chairs keep being created. Different chairs exist for different reasons, and just because it keeps spreading out in that sense. But that's kind of how egregores grow in that sense. And that's what we do as humans, in a sense. We when we manifest, it's not that we are creating something that doesn't exist. It's the fact that we're inputting ourselves into that equation to create it, because we're manifesting. It's not manifesting in this like huge spiritual meaning. It's manifesting. It's literally you going in somewhere and creating something, infesting, right? But that's what we're doing on this in this world when it comes down to egregores and everything. When we say, oh, don't do this because these types of people do that, stereotypes and stuff, that's an egregoric thought form that then some people fall towards because it's just how it is. But making your own egregore for like your own personal your own personal needs is very easy to do. You don't really need anything. It would be good to have some form of like symbol, sigil, something to like call upon, or call upon it easier with, a jingle or something. You get earworms the same way with that, with music and stuff. But first have like a topic. Is it going to be about bringing more peace to you? Is it going to be about bringing all these things to you? Don't just make an egregore to bring money to you, because that's not going to happen the way that you would think it would. Bring in a label, bring in abundance, bring in prosperity, bring in something of that nature, and keep it open. Don't close it down, but allow it to have its own room to grow, because you are creating your own entity at this point that you take care of, that you check in on, that you you feed. But it's a symbiotic feeding, where you're actually yeah, I like this idea, let me work on it, type of thing, where it's not just draining from me, where it's going to actually benefit you in the future, in that sense, an equal give and take. But you would just think of that, think of a ritual, or it's like a symbol or something you would like to attach to it, and interact with it, keep it around with you. Whenever you're desiring something, use that as like a base for it. You can use egregores for like protection. You can use egregores for personal development. You can use egregores for anything. It's really just what you're desiring it for. But other than that, that's really We can go deeper into egregores. I'm just not too sure of how to talk about things of this nature. I'm better just being asked questions. So that's why we do these quick run throughs. But yeah, that's just a bit about egregores and stuff. But with the rational mind and how the rational mind kind of ties into egregores is it always operates off of this, like, I'm gonna break everything down and get like a direct yes or no answer. And when we get a direct yes or no, it has impact because that's the exact, like, that's the point blank value that we're getting. So when the rational mind gets a hold of things, it says, no, this isn't going to happen, or yes, this is going to happen. It then creates that strong cold. It creates that egregore of saying this isn't going to happen. So it ends up actually creating a blockage inside of you, and it goes through your system within you, and blocks, whatever you're doing, whatever it's like a thought form, like, oh, I can't think of anything new. It's because you're not trusting in yourself, and you got to go through your chakras, whatever chakras are affected, that egregore is most likely on, but it's all coming from you. And you don't want to destroy, you're either wanting to dissolve and or transmute. Transmuting it, obviously you would just alchemize it, get to know it. Every time it says something that defeats the purpose of you trying to complete something, give it the rebuttal. But to dissolve an egregore is a little bit different, because it's not like shadow work, how you would work on it normally, but you would actually focus on like the thought forms that feeds into the egregore, and it's not really becoming numb to it, but it's a weird way of converting it. It's like you agree with it to the point, to where it like fissures out, like it overexpends itself to where like you just do it anyway. That usually happens within people who like procrastinate a lot. Well, they'll get that burnout and be like, I'm just going to go ahead and do that. That's kind of where that comes from. It's just all that energy build up. It either backfires or propels you forward. And it just like depends on the inner beings. But yeah, if anyone has any questions about egregores or the rational mind or things of that nature, definitely ask. It's the best way to get information out, because I don't really know how to talk about things point blank like this. I'm better just answering questions with it. Yeah, if anyone has any questions about egregores or the rational mind, be sure to ask them. No worries. So any suggestions besides composure when having people with unhealthy ego? What do you mean by that? I don't really know what you mean by that question. Like, what do you mean? How do you uh, like having people with unhealthy egregores? What does that? What exactly imply? Like, what are you trying to mean by that? I'm really confused by that. The questions worded out. But welcome in. Welcome in. Welcome in. But yeah, we're talking about the rational mind and egregores. We're just kind of asking questions and stuff. Well, what do you mean dependent upon an egregore? No one's really dependent upon an egregore. We create them constantly. Dependency would mean like you can't go on without it. Like in a, like you need it, and we don't necessarily need egregores. We just create them constantly. Where we don't know, if you're not aware of it, then you don't know they're happening. So it's about being aware of what you're doing in that sense. Because it's not really about like a good or bad thing when it comes down to egregores. Some are convinced they need them. I've never met anyone convinced that they need like an egregore. If someone wants to put that much faith into an outside source, let them. Like if they've created an entity that's stronger than them, like let them do what they have to do. They're probably a slave to it. At that point, it would become more of a servitor or like, what is that other thing called? Oh God, tupla or like a tupla or something. Because it all depends. Because when you're messing with egregores and stuff, you can if you depend on them and like make them more important than you, they end up like ruling over your life. And if you're messing with an entity at that point, and if it decides one day, hey, I just don't want to do this anymore, or aren't listening to what it wants you to do, or something of that nature, however it is between you and the egregore, it can just switch up and leave, or do something, or and you'll be the individual responsible for it on that soul level, since it's your energetic being that you've created. So for those who are like dependent on them, they're probably like slaves to them, and they don't even really realize it or know it, or they do know it and they just can't get out, because it's one of those things where it's like, well, you shouldn't have created something stronger than you. Like what's like, you know what I mean? Like that's the whole Frankenstein story. That's like all those movies and stuff from that time. You can even take it a step further. Um, if someone's addicted to like buying a brand of something, or they only buy like top notch stuff, or however, like like they only buy branded things just because it's branded, in that sense, that's another thing where it becomes like a mind controlled for the individual. Why wouldn't you use a servitor instead? It would just depend. Um, it would really depend. Because it's not, because you can create an egregore for it, sure. You can create a servitor for it, sure. But it's like, what are you desiring to do? Servitors are a bit more complex than egregores. So an egregore would be easier to start off with. But if you know how to make servitors, I would just do a servitor for it. Just like, you know what I mean? It's one of those things where it's like, I'm talking to, I have to like put myself in the mindset of I'm talking to people that don't really know about these things. So it's like I won't just go off and say it's a sever. You can make a servitor for it, because like it's different levels with when it comes down to these things with these beings, including like you go even further, you get into like godheads and archons and stuff that you can create, and then that just does its own thing. But as well, like with an egregore to bring in abundance, I feel like it would just be a little bit easier the fuel than a servitor as well. Servitors require a lot more attention because you have, well, I mean, you have to train these beings, but servitors are like, at least the ones that I've been around, like if they're not already like properly like, you know, trained and know what they're, you know what to do, they're gonna be like really messy, and you know, it's just not always the best case for it. Because you have to like train these beings. They have to, you know, even though you create it, you have to like show them like the whole thing of you. You know, like you can look up like mass hysterias, and mass hysterias is really just like an all over like egregore type thing in a sense, in a really weird sense where like there it's like more of a hive mind in that sense, but they're formed in the same way. But like politics and stuff, that's all like based on that. That's all egregores. Businesses and stuff, those are all egregores. Yeah, exactly what Daniel said. You it because it's I don't know, dude. It's so interesting. Um, just the way I learned about egregores was really weird. I was like, it was like a really weird like 2 weeks, and then after that, I just I made a servitor after that 2 weeks, and I never really like delved into servitors and egregores again. I just like got moved on to a new subject. It was a weird like 5 month period where I was just like really quickly learning everything I needed to know. Yeah, servitors are a lot more respectful when it comes down to it. Like, it's like they're, I don't know, because servitors they have to know who you are. Like you create it. I don't want to say it how I'm gonna say it, so I'm not gonna say it that way. Um, but you're really creating an entity basically out of your image or out of your position of like your thought form, your feeling state at that point in time. Um, and for servitors, they're able to mature and grow and do their own thing, and be their own entity separate from you. Meanwhile, egregores are kind of always close to you. They reside almost within. Well, I mean, everything that you're creating in this, you know, is coming from within and will reside within. But egregores have a lot more control over like you and your mentality than servitors would. The worst thing a servitor could do to you is get you punished for awful crimes or turn into a godhead and then like puppet you, which would be, I don't know. I've heard things of that happening. I don't know who it's happened to, so I don't really know if that's a thing. But people definitely do give that warning out. No, you're good, Daniel. We're all just talking and chilling about it. But egregores will definitely make you a slave. And it's less of things outside of you change, it's an internal. It's like your mindset will switch up and you'll just like I can't do this, I don't want to do this, and you'll stop doing things that you need to do on that path because of it. Egregores are like, they can get rough. But that's like when you have these really strong boundaries, a lot of people when you're going through breakthroughs and stuff is you're getting rid of where you're dissolving the boundaries is what you're doing, and you're moving across the obstacles and stuff. And if you did have like an egregore on it at that point, that like heavy release that you feel on your shoulders and stuff is that leaving basically. You either feel it on your shoulders or like in your solar plexus, but around those two areas when you remove egregores from you, or like the hold that they may have on you, that's where the feeling really clicks in at. But it's super important just to like monitor if you do create an egregore, just monitor it. You can the best bet to do it, if you know that you can't keep a straight mind on things, write it down in red ink somewhere, like in a journal or something, and allow that to be there, just because that will definitely help you and boost you forward. And keep an egregore kind of at away from doing anything like backhanded to you. In red ink because official. But yeah, the biggest thing with like egregores is if you can learn how to not believe or not take all your thoughts so serious, um, it does like a double-edged sword for it. It fixes both problems, because not every thought that you think is like a serious thought or is a thought that's gonna happen. It's just something that kind of springs out of nowhere from something that you've experienced or heard about before, and it's all about you needing to like, that's not going to happen, like, and then your imagination takes those scenarios and does its own thing with it as well, because it gets that funding from the feeling of fear, and then it goes off its own tangent, right? It's just about not taking all those thoughts so serious. Don't be the one in the room that's, hey, everyone's going to get killed whenever something random happens, or like that could have been a don't be that individual to yourself, let alone other people. Let that part of you kind of see itself and be like, oh, I don't need to focus on these things, because that's not going to happen. And yeah, setting boundaries with self is really what you're doing at that point. But that's the whole point of shadow work and stuff, and getting down to the root work. Getting down to the root work does a lot more for your rational mind than shadow work will. Keeping your shadow clean is like an Egyptian thing. In the Egyptian Book of the Dead, it talks a lot about how to clean your shadow, and why it was shadow work was even a thing, and why it's called shadow work. You literally carry everything within your shadow, and it's important to check back and make sure that you're not losing who you are. Not in this sense of losing like all the good and bad things, but losing you, the experience of you, and not of others, of you, the feelings that you felt, the textures that you were around, the scents that you smelled, the things that you tasted. That's your experience, not the external. And shadow work has a lot to do with clearing out the physical, so that you can remember who you are and not what the things around you kind of try and cram you into. And then root work takes that further and allows you to see why these things were even issues in the first place, or why you even needed to experience these things on a soul level, on that deeper like self. That is the second time I've seen the word deviation today and thought divination. And I like, my dyslexia has been acting up crazy with that word today. That's like the second time that's happened. And I have to like reread it 4 or 5 times, like, what the fuck's going on? Am I being told something? Like, I mean, I know I'm getting signs and stuff, and I always look into it. I question it, and it goes in the vault until I can properly sit down about it. That's so interesting why that keeps happening. I literally just keep, I don't know why. It's like, that's not how you spell divination. It's like, that's not supposed to be divination, dummy. There's another word that looks like that. No, exactly, Daniel. Like, see, it doesn't bother me. I always go like, why did I see it like that? I'm not gonna worry about it. It's not. I'm not gonna like give it too much care and like have it make me be in distress. I'm just gonna remember it. It's going in the vault, and during meditation, I'm just gonna think like, what the hell was that about? Give me my answer now. It's been cooking for a second. But that the rational mind is one of the weirdest things because it what you want to do isn't what your rational mind wants you to do. And that sounds really weird, but it's not even like your soul, it's the observation you, the you that gets misled by the rational brain. Yeah, this is the right side, the rational brain. I'm looked at the camera, I got confused. Um so when you're messing with when you see it from that angle, it's like, why do I have this other part of me that disagreeable on me at all times? That's why we're made. We're made we're made in Yahweh's image. Part disagreeable, part disagreeable. That's just how we were. It's just how we are. And when we realize that, we understand like the rational mind is that negative Nancy, and the heart space is the divine, the angel. The Tom and Jerry comics and stuff. That's why the angel's always on the left shoulder and the devil's on the right. Um, But regardless, when you realize that, you can't control it because your rational mind has free will. That's where your free will comes to either agree or disagree with who you are, which is the mix of both, saying yes to some and no to others. Not allowing one thing to be bad or good, just allowing it to be there, and choosing what you want to experience from that neutral state. Um, you'll start to work with the rational mind really weird though, because you want it to look at your heart space or look towards the divine to be like, hey, look at this other side of you that wants everything good to happen and everything like to work out that you're worried about or that you keep bringing up, and if we just listen to it, it'll be fine. And then you have the rational mind that's built off of everything that you've experienced and then held on to from childhood or however, where it's like, no, I need these things to happen, or I just want it to go this way. It's that egoic side of you that doesn't want things to change, that part of you that got told no to, that acts up now because now it doesn't want to do something, so it wants to tell no to an invisible force outside of itself because it thinks that something's going to change it just because it said no. It doesn't have that same power. You know what I mean? I guess that's the best way I can explain it. I don't know why I started so hard there, but I guess that's the best way I can explain it. Um, the way I was talking about it, at least. But you're really just playing. You're not really playing tug of war either, because the divine part of you isn't doing anything. Like your heart space can't be dirtied. Your heart is never broken. It's your mind that is broken and projects out everywhere else onto things and creates these attachments and stuff. It's the heart space that resides with the divine. It's with God, with mother and father. It doesn't need to do anything. It doesn't need your rational mind to do anything. It doesn't need anything. It's there. It has everything it needs. It just is just feeding you like, hey, you could do this. You don't have to, but I'm feeding you this for a reason, and it's coming from the divine. It's coming straight from God to you. And then your rational mind that doesn't have that physical belief, doesn't have that physical proof, doesn't have that, oh, I need more proof, I need more science, I need more of this, I need more of that. That part of you that's never satisfied gets it. It goes, oh, that sounds good, but I don't care. Oh, but this could happen. Oh, that sounds so cool. I'm not gonna do it though. And that's where the people who have really bad procrastination, they fall within that trap somehow. Either throughout stress or just paranoia, anxiety. However, that's how that trap is created. A lot of times. And then how the brain just works. It's like, oh, it needs a reason. So look at this experience from years ago. I watched this TV show or this news article or however, and compare it to a bad incident. But that's what you're working with, and that's the egregor creation of now you can't move because there's an actual energetic force keeping you from doing it. That you've created. Unknowingly you created it, and you might think it might be someone else, but it's really you and your own energy that you're fighting against, because you've put that much into it. That's how strong you are. It's not about beating yourself, because you never can. You'll always be one step ahead of you. It's about seeing how strong you are and applying that force into different ways. Applying that force into different areas, not in different ways, but in different areas. Instead of just saying, "Oh, I can't do that," apply that same force to, you can do those things. Exactly, Daniel. That's the age old question. What came first, the chicken or the egg? The egg came first, is the answer, actually. Chicken is a byproduct of an egg. You gotta have an egg first. You don't know it's a chicken egg. You don't know what's inside the egg. It could be any kind of egg. It's just an egg. An egg had to come first. Something had to be there to hold something in. T-Rex came first. That's cheating. You can't do that. Well, the T-Rex egg came first. How about that? I'll take it up the next level. T-Rex egg came first. What made the T-Rex? Where'd the T-Rex come from? The good question. Damn. What fish came before the T-Rex? Shit. We don't look that far into stuff. We just want to know where, like, our farm animals come from. Dinosaurs don't exist, We have aquatics and apparently just off brands of different chickens and birds. What came first, space or matter? Space didn't come. Space is already there. It'd be thought. It would be between thought and matter at that point. Because space is always there. Space is... I don't... It's... Dude, it gives me this weird gut feeling every time I talk about, like, space. No, that's what I'm about to say. It's like, when it comes to space, it's like, space is the distance between one thing and another. It's always gonna be there. So, it's like, what came first? The matter, the actual object in between those, or the thought that there's a distance between there? Because in the realm of polarity, of of positive and negative polarities, of the masculine and the feminine and the masculine polarities, space is feminine and matter is masculine. The transmutation between feminine and masculine would be a thought form, would be that feeling to being solidified, the casting of the iron. Well, in order for there to be a void, there has to be space there. Because a void just defines what's in the space. So if we're really going to go deep into it, how can there be a void in space if there's nothing that's, being voided? Or being around that void or for that void to exist? We do brain busters. Everything and nothing. Everything and nothing. Dude. Polarities. I don't know. I love polarity. It's weird. Yeah, not to confuse nothing with not a thing. Because nothing and not a thing are two different things. Because one of them's not a thing. The other one could be something, but probably isn't. God, that's... I'm glad I didn't try to say that fast. That's a tongue twister. The Ark of the Covenant? I don't think the Ark of the Covenant's been opened. Unless you're talking about the black box of Saturn. Depends on what black box we're talking about here. There's a lot of things that are like defined as the black box. Now the Pope's been dead. I don't know why people think the Pope just now died. Pope's been dead. I don't like. Because I don't know. There is a lot of proof, not proof, there's a lot of things that's happened, I mean, that really convinced me that the Pope has just been dead longer. Because apparently the Pope was here before Easter, like 2 days before Easter. But then that same day, 5 murders around the same area that the Pope was in happened that same exact day. So I don't know what the fuck was going on. So I don't know. There was literally there was a murder. There was a hiker that found a body. There was a shootout that happened. There was a car wreck. Dude, there's like fucking 5 people just died the same day the Pope got there. I don't know. Not today. I don't know. I'm a firm believer. There was one of my friends sent me an article, I think like 2 months ago, saying that the Pope had died. And I was like, is this real? And I clicked on it and I read it and I was like, okay. Like, when are they gonna announce it though? They're probably gonna announce it after I have like DM proof. Like, I was talking to my friend, and we were just like, he's probably gonna get announced dead after Easter. I said that's probably what they're gonna do, and they better not. And dude, it's so weird. But I don't know. I think the Pope's just been dead for longer. Bro had the fear, the face of fear on him when those doors swung open. He knew he was gone. He knew the second that those doors opened, he'd be gone. There ain't nothing in that he could do. And this is the last time you're gonna open that door, Francis. Have fun. fucking, he did it. Yeah, there is a prophecy from like the 1700s that's being fulfilled because of the day that Francis got announced dead. Um, it's predicted like every pope's passing up to date, like correctly. um, there's a lot more to the story for sure. How much are we gonna know? I don't know. It's unless someone wants to go out and go look for it, in the astrals, which would be fun to do. But like, just, if we're gonna do that, we can probably be fun, I guess. But you know, that'd be the only way. That'd be the only way. Just go straight to the astrals, be like, what the fuck is going on? Like, tell me. I want to know. Because like, you don't like, I don't know, dude. There's literally like two prophecies that's being fulfilled uh verbatim that I know of personally. And well, one of them I know personally. The other one I haven't done too much research in, but I seen it. But the thunders, the what is it? The seven thunders, the nine thunders, the seven thunders. The nine thunders. We're on the sixth thunder, I think. But the sixth thunder is like visitations from outer worlds. You know, more political and religious disagreements. People waking up a lot more. That's interesting, Daniel. I need to look at this. I need to go get the. Yeah, it is the seven thunders. The seven thunders and the seven seals. But yeah, just if stick to your way of life. If you're worried about the end times, just stick close to your life. How do you desire to live? What who's your God? Who created you? Who do you give your thanks to? If it's no one, cool. Keep it that way. Keep rocking. No worries. Just be more of you than you can be. Be more respectful to you. Don't make yourself feel afraid, deathly afraid, depending on how strong you are to your religion, and how you need to be with it. Do that. You can't really give guidelines for it, but the only way to really save who you are is to just be who you are. And that saves other people by making them less afraid to be who they are, and it makes us more accepting of who we need to be of each other. Because like the end goal is just for us to live in harmony. Like it should not be that hard for us to live in harmony, but it is. And the reason why we can't live in harmony is because we're not connected to ourselves. We're run off our rational mind. We're not even listening to our heart space. We're not taught how to feel. We're taught how to suppress our emotions, to like take medicines to keep us from feeling things. We're taught to numb. We're not ever taught to truly feel, and to be comforted when we feel, and not told to stop, or to shut up when we're feeling, and all these things. We're not, so we're disconnected. We don't even know that part of this exists. We don't even know it's okay to do that. We're afraid to. And that's what we're here to do, is to remove that fear, by just allowing yourself to feel. Like, that's it. The whole experience, the whole point of you having a body, like one of the whole points, like you can feel things. You're here to interact with the world. You're here to feel it, and to move things, to be moved by. Like, why are we being moved in a fearful manner into a slaughterhouse? Why aren't we just having fun? And again, we can say these things and we know why, but at the end of the day, those things shouldn't stop you, because it's this internal, like, I just wouldn't know what to do, that stops us at the end of the day. It's that fear to take that leap, and that's what we work through on a day-to-day basis until we're at our own comfortability. And you know, don't let that, like, just don't let people destroy you. Just move at your own comfortability. It doesn't matter if you, like, you know, I don't know, just don't be envious. Don't be envious. Moral of the story, moral of this whole thing, don't be envious of someone else just because they're living a life that you would think that you would like, or or are shooting for. Allow it to come naturally for you, because there's steps that need to be taken for every individual that not everyone gets to see. And those are the most important steps. But yeah, we can. It's really not that hard to live in harmony with each other. It really isn't. Um, it just becomes very stressful, and it's not even because of the other individual. It's because you end up putting, like, we end up putting people on pedestals, or gauging people, like, oh, they do this, I like that, I don't like that. We judge a lot, and though judging isn't like a bad thing, we allow it to corrupt instead of allowing us to keep the curiosity, which that judgment is, like, rooted in. It solidifies into solid judgment, rather than being like, why do you do that, I'm curious about that. Instead of keeping it innocent, we allow it to mature fully, and it just can't move after that. We have to chisel it down, which is why it takes so long to not be judgmental, or to change mindsets or things, because you're literally chiseling. Oh my God, I can't speak, hold on. Because you're literally chiseling things. I'm drinking dandelion tea and my mouth is, like, completely bitter. So that's fun. Yeah, I'm gonna be trying to go live every day again, Joe. I've just been going through stuff, dude. I've been doing a lot of studies on things, and that caused me to relapse on a lot of old cycles that I didn't realize I had some cleaning up to do in. So I got through all of those. I've been dealing with a lot of real life things. Trying to get balls moving in different courts, and it's just difficult and annoying, and the legal system and yada yada, human shit. Um, and other than that, I've just been relaxing. If I haven't been doing that, I've been relaxing. And then I've been working on my album. Um, and that's been fun. One of my friends who makes music recently came back online, and we've been talking and making music again. So that's what I've just been. My focus has been, like, on relaxation and just studies and stuff. But I'm coming back to I'm kicking back in the gear. It was definitely a really needed rest. But I've found a good balance for it. I just have to be more reliable on myself, if that makes sense. I know it does, but saying it that way is just so weird. And even weird at that point, weird just means fate. So it's just fate that I say that, because I'm not combobulating correctly. Yeah, I've needed to relax I've needed this break for a while. Um, I don't know, it, like, I had a lot on my plate. I do a lot of shit in the background. I like staying busy, and I didn't crash. I kind of did, but I didn't, like, fully, because I was still able to do things. Um, and then whenever I got the idea to do the tarot card series thing, that's when I started getting all the energy back, and I've just been looking at the cards more. Dude, there's just so much to tarot cards, and the way I'm talking about them, We're just going off topic for a minute. That's cool. Anyway, the way I'm doing the shorts is I'm gonna do shorts for all of them, and then the major arcana I'm gonna put like them into like a full video, but I'm gonna break them down even more. Like I'm just giving synopsis. Or I'm gonna have full on videos, like maybe like 7-10 minutes long on each card, and that's still not gonna be enough to like explain to you what's going on within the tarot cards, because there's like details, like minute details within the cards that were put there on purpose, and when you see them you'll notice it because they're like background elements. It's eye candy. More of my music, dude, it's all over the place right now. I don't have any music up because I'm deleting everything. I delete what I do. I have all the songs still, so they're not like gone forever. But I'm cleaning up my page, getting ready to start releasing some of the songs from the album. So here soon I'll have a lot more. But right now I'm kind of just cleaning board. I'm gonna do a re-release for a few of them though. I feel like 2 songs I really do want to just keep. 2 or 3 of them I really want to just re-release because they just hit home. So I'll do like a remaster of that, of them at some point. I don't know. I love roses too. Oh yeah, dude. It's not even the surface of it. I can't. I don't even. I'm not. This is not a tarot stream, but I have the cards are now out, so I'm in. I'm getting in the zone. I can't be doing that right now, but yeah, that's like, even though it's like basic information, it's very helpful. Um, but it's gonna be the exact same format for the wands. I mean, for the cups, the swords, and the pinnacles. The major arcana is gonna be interesting to do. Because I'll be given the zodiac obviously for them. Some of them have planets, some of them have elements, some of them have shit planets. That's the word. Luminaries, even for the sun and the moon, obviously. And then the numerology of those cards tie into what the card actually is. So those are gonna be fun to break down. And that's just scratching the surface. That's just the card and the basic like 3-step program of reading tarot, which is just like the numerology, the suit, the elements, and the position. Is it upright or reversed? What's the numerology of the card, and what element is it? What planet is it? What element? What's the astrology of it? Right. After that, it's okay. Like after that, it gets a lot deeper. But that's like the basic 3-step method to reading tarot cards. It's just, what are those 3 things? You got those 3 things packed down, you're good to go. As long as you know them. And then you start breaking down like, like hand movements, feet gestures, body language, facial patterns, color choices, everything, because it's all intentional, and it just breaks it down, dude. It's so weird for me because while doing all these studyings, I kind of want to make my own tarot deck based off of just like imagery, the same way it is, but talking about it in like a different sense. I don't know, because like I've even been cross-referencing decks. I've been looking at this deck and then cross-referencing it with other decks and seeing if it's even similar or not. Some decks are completely off. I don't even know why they have it there other than like aesthetic purposes. And other decks kind of get the meaning, and it's just like, it's so interesting seeing the grasp of how deep this is a relic. This isn't just like this is a relic. It's an artifact. It's a literal book. From the Egyptians of how they lived their life, and the secrets that they knew. It's been so fucking crazy. It's dude, I don't know. It's such a rabbit hole to go down. Like, dude, oh my god, I can't describe it. but I want to like share it with people, which is what I'm doing. But you also like I also am doing these shorts in that sort of format because you have to have a foundation for something, right? Like I'm trying to build awareness of something, so I have to have stable grounding for it. The issue is fasting. The issue is like parasites actually. We don't cleanse or detox as much as we should. And yeah, my mentor was even kind of surprised because it was like a week after I first did classes with him, and we were doing them like every day. By the end of the week, he was like, "I don't know why I'm even telling you half the things I'm telling you," and I was like, I don't know, I'm just listening to you, dude." And he goes, "Yeah, but it's like." I know that you get this though. It's not that you're just listening to it and walking away and not remembering it. I know that you get this. It's like I could because he knows how to read facial patterns. Like he's very he's a actual bona fide psychic. He can read you just by like your body language type shit. He's not he isn't like he's not a fake. I'll leave it like that. He's an OG when it comes down to it. And he was like, I just know that you get this. Like I don't know why I'm telling you these things. So I've been talking with my guides, and apparently it's tied in with me like heavily. Like my ancestors were really into divination. It's something about like not even like soul contract, it's just ancestors. It's something about my ancestors that are like, yeah, do this, go for it, do this. And it's like, okay. Because it like I didn't like find tarot on YouTube. I had my own deck for years. I just never like used it. It was in what is that language called? I don't it wasn't in English. I didn't know how to read it. So I never used it, but it was a really cool deck. I bought it in like 2017. And I just never used it. And I carried it around with me forever. It wasn't until 3 years ago that I started like trying to read it. I've never seen the before and after tarot decks. Oh yeah, it was definitely awesome because we've walked a really fun path when it came down to it. Um, there are some things that I've talked to him about the cards that he didn't really notice or look into that I brought up to him, and it was just like he's like, I know what you're doing. Like I know you're actually paying attention to the cards. Like I know you're seeing what I'm putting down. It's like I don't fully get what he's putting down. I don't fully understand it. But I'm picking up the pieces that he's putting down. And it's like this exciting journey of watching him like drip feed me more information, and then I just go like, okay, that's cool. And I go research. I'm like, oh shit, that is it. It's just I don't know. It's like we whenever we have like our our classes and stuff, it's like something we feel something building. It like at least I do. It's really cool. Um that's interesting. Yeah, see, that's my thing, Jennifer. I'm overthinking, and this is a huge thing that I had to really come to terms with, and it's not even coming to terms with it in the sense of like being aware of it. I'm now like hyper vigilant of it. I overthink so much of like what to teach or what to do that I prevent myself from even doing it. Um, and it's just because I don't know really how to teach. I just kind of talk about things. That's just what I do. Um, because there's not really like a way to teach, and I don't like. I don't know. I just keep it real. I like being asked questions. I like talking about things and exchanging ideas. That's how I teach. So I had to come to terms with that being okay, and for me to stop setting the bar so high and being like, oh, if you're not doing it properly and you stutter and say a lot, people aren't going to take you serious. It's like I had to stop doing that to myself. I did that a lot to myself. Um, I don't know. It's just how it is. I want to be more proper, I guess. It's just not gonna happen. Because I compare myself to others, and I just gotta stop doing it. So that's what that was part of my root work over my break, was breaking that boundary. Because it clicked with me. It was the Seven of Wands. I was stuttering like a motherfucker recording it, and I paused, and I was like, I'm not gonna do this anymore. I'm gonna stop. And I was like, no, you're not gonna fucking stop. You're literally at the Seven of Wands. Just relax. And I was like, this is crazy. So I worked through that. That boundary is no longer an issue. It definitely comes up a few times, and it feels awkward, but I'm working through it. Exactly, Jennifer. I try and stay authentic. I really don't I can't, it's not that I can't wear a mask. I just tend not to. Um, I don't know. I like who I am. I'm just hard on myself. So that's part of the healing journey, though, is expressing who you are openly like that. And the biggest part of that is by you mentally being like, I'm not an issue because I am aware of this issue. This does not mean that I'm a bad person, or this does not mean that people aren't gonna accept me or like me. They're gonna people are gonna be aware of it. And don't be afraid of that. Allow them to be aware of it. It's okay. They might help you. You're only afraid of getting help because it's what if what if I freak the fuck out? Well, why would you? Why would you freak out? What would there be to freak out? Why would you be scared of yourself? And it's you really have to work through that. That's I'm scared of myself a little bit because fuck, dude, some things I do, I don't get how I do them, and it's kind of weird. So, but it's coming to accepting that part of you that just is divine, that is of God, and cannot be removed from it. Um, and moving with that, baby steps, dude. It might feel small to you, but it's huge, and it might be huge for someone else. I had to kick the fuck out my Gemini I was literally in my Aquarius for the past while. Demeanor wise, I was just detached. Didn't give a fuck. I could not I was there doing what I had to do, but I was so not in the zone of things. It was very obvious, but I was just ignoring the Gemini aspects of me and the Libra aspects of me because I cannot have that being balanced if I'm trying to do something. I need to work. So I let that go on in the background and popped in some deep meditations for that, and that was fun. But yeah, I don't know. Other than that, we could talk a little bit about the egregore that's going on within the spiritual community. I did some meditations on that a while ago as well. And the main operating force behind this whole thing is our jinns. Um, and it's not that these jinns are possessing people, but they are standing around individuals, making things, filling in space that we're not aware of. Creating events, just disrupting divinations and things of that nature, creating their own form of egregores, or being sent by, you know, your own internal self's egregore, it latching onto that and manipulating in that sense, convincing you of certain things happening when certain things aren't, and things of that nature within the tarot community and spiritual community in general, within life, really. But, you know, to categorize it, this spiritual community. But that's what's going on with it, is it's a bunch of jinns going around, and it's mainly from Beelzebub, also known as Iblis. That's where it's coming from. It's this addiction to hurt people, and this side of self, which is gauged by the rational mind, that has parts of them that they're not. It's not the fact that the person's not focused on the healing. It's the fact that we all have this part of ourselves that just doesn't want to let go of the fact that bad things had happened, and it wants to be known for it, or it wants to feel some form of relief. It wants to feel seen in the sense of that feeling that it's producing in you projected on someone else, right? And a lot of these readers feel in that satisfaction, and you end up falling for that addiction. You end up falling for that, oh, they're not doing good, so that means I'm doing better, or I'm glad to hear that I'm protected by XYZ, and me hearing that makes me feel better because I'm not them. It gives that comparison. It still splits you up, and it pushes you into a more egoic state of feeling better than someone, or feeling like you have to look down on them, or feel bad, or feel down for them, or lower yourself for them in that sense. And that programs people in that sense. And these gens just fucking eat that shit up. And Bliss just loves that. That addiction, that self-feeding is there. And that's why when you do that shadow work, that those times you do shadow work, you actually feel yourself get too deep. It's because there's parts of you that are like calcified up by their own like self-loathing, thoughts that are generating in the back of your subconscious. It's not even conscious things, it's subconscious things at that point, right? And when you delve that deep, you start to see, shit, I'm not healed from this, and you immediately jump out of it because you aren't ready for it. And it's not that you don't want to heal from it; it's just like the appearance of that showing up was such of a shock that it snaps you out immediately. Um, it's like it's a thing that we go through when you're doing shadow work. The ones that have done shadow work or root work and have gone that deep know exactly what I'm talking about. Where you just think, you go back to that memory. It's like, I don't want to think about that memory, and you don't even like have a choice. You might even try to go back into that memory, and it won't let you. Sometimes it will, sometimes it won't. It depends on if you're truly ready or not. And that's that rational mind going, oh no, you don't want this, you don't want to heal from this, you need this satisfaction still, you need me to be satisfied by these things still. And it doesn't need it, because that same satisfaction is going to be created whether it's by hurt or by healing. It's just up to you, the individual, the observer. Do you want to be healed, or do you want to remain in this other form? Doesn't matter, good or bad. That's up for you to decide at the end of the day. How do you want to go about it? And that's the conundrum that people get stuck in, because now you're, how do I want to be? I want to look good, so what do people around me think is good? Who can I put myself around to make myself seem better than them? You're not aware of it subconsciously. Sometimes you're aware of it, sometimes you're not, but you're comparing yourself to those that are at a lower vibration to make yourself feel higher while matching their frequency. And it's a weird psychological game you play on yourself. When you're surrounding, and you gotta, take that with a grain of salt. That doesn't happen to everyone, but you'll know the things in the past. If you've done it before in the past, you'll know what I'm talking about. Or if you've had people around you, who did that type of thing, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Um, and it's an intent. It's a strong like feeling. And yeah, that's just the egregor. Yeah, that's the egregor of social media for sure. But that's what's going on within that realm, and healing that part of yourself. You can go to gurus, you can do all sorts of like, go to all sorts of speeches, and do all sorts of stuff. It's only up to you, because only you know how to heal from it. You can be given guidance, but like, if my mom's dead, if someone else has a mother that's passed away, you wouldn't be able to heal me, and I wouldn't be able to heal you based off of that shared experience, because my connection to my mom and your connection to your mom are two different things. The way I experience my life and you experience yours are two different things. So even though we can come on a mutual ground of seeing things in the sense of like the physical realm, when it comes down to the spiritual sense, that's when you have to go on your own. We're just showing you the path of, hey, this is what you have to do to get to that point. This is the things that you can do, not even have to, excuse me, but can do to get to that point. And seeing it from all different angles, it's up to you to go dive in, and choose like which way you're gonna go. Yeah, Jennifer, it's like that, but it's not even like they don't want to control how it looks on the external. They want to control how it looks on the internal. Like, oh, I used to do these things, but you know what I mean? It's that it's a spiritual ego because it's not like a physical thing. The way I'm talking about it, it's more of that spiritual ego rather than the physical. So if you're talking about in that sense, yeah, but it is like that. Either way, it's like that. At like a base value for sure. Because it's like they don't want to match anyone's energy in there. They just are doing what they do and it resonates with it. Like, you know what I mean? It's I y'all know what I mean. I don't know why I always say you know what I mean. I don't even know what I mean half the time because I'm so worried about what words I'm using, dude. uh, Interesting. It can be judged depending on how we're looking at it. It can be judging. You can definitely judge yourself based off an imaginary version of yourself that you've created, whether that being a role model standard or a future version that you're wishing to create and have and be aware of at least. Depends because you can judge yourself based off of those actions as well, and that can be a hindrance. Really, at the end of the day, you're always going to be judging yourself. Even if you judge someone else's actions, you're judging your own response by saying that's a bad, I don't like that. You know what I mean? Like if we're really gonna talk about it in like a translucent way, you're just responding to how that feeling made you feel, and you don't like to feel that way. So you got two options at that point: either don't look at that thing no more, or try and transmute it, right? But it's not that simple at that point in time, and we're not trained to just see events like that and immediately have this mentality, right? It's not something that's expected of us to like have mastered in this lifetime, but it's something that once you're aware of it, you can kind of walk that path and think about it like seconds after, which is a lot better than days, weeks, months, years after, right? It's a quicker version of that shadow work, so you don't feel so behind or have to go through so much shadow work. It's like, oh shit, I fucked up on this last week and I'm still kind of like upset about it. Or to then go into like, oh, I messed up like an hour ago and I'm over it now, right? That's that programming that we're trying to get into when it comes to healing, so that even when you do make a mistake, it doesn't hit you so hard in these spots that you're working on that it knocks you back into like months of shadow work that you've already made through. Yeah, exactly. It's not good or bad. It's all a different level of introspection. Because that's it. It's just so important. Because if if we focused more on metaphysics rather than esotericism, life would be a lot more gleeful. I guess that's the right word to use when it comes to spirituality, rather than a warfield. Warfield. I said that right. That just sounds weird. Warfield. Anyway, whatever. I'm thinking of Garfield and I'm saying Warfield and it just did not. I'm sorry. Like an ADHD kicked in. But no, yeah. If we use more metaphysics within spirituality rather than like esotericism, we'd be fine. What we need to be worried about, and really, even at the end of the day, most people's esotericism is exotericism, meaning external, outside of them, because they're looking at things outside of them rather than looking in. So, is it really esotericism that we're messing with, or is it exotericism, right? We really have, like, I like thinking about it like that. Though it's not, it's like, it's an important thing to think about when we get to a point where we can actually discuss these things and not like yell at each other. I mean, we have points and places where we can do those things, obviously, but doing it in a grander setting where we're held in like more high regard of not only ourself and our own belief and our own way of life, our own truth, however you want to relay it, and being able to respect someone else's and not get like heated and upset and have that controllability. It's going to be weird talking about it like that to people. And that, at the end of the day, not everyone's going to be like that either, because that would just be asinine to, put everyone through, because then, when a new issue arises, that shit would kick off awful. That'd be horrible. We'd have the same thing happen, but 10 times worse. It's just like something to just be aware of. It allows you as the individual to realize that you're not individual and that you're a twin individual, so that that external conflict never happens. It remains that internal conflict that gets resolved, so nothing bad happens on the external. You know, we would think that, oh, if someone else controlled it, well, that someone else is actually you. It's like up in here somewhere that's making you act out that way in the physical, but then act completely different within the spiritual, because you know it's okay to make those, you know, those outbursts are okay. You not, you know, you losing your mind for a minute was perfectly fine because you're just moving through life, and that's the divine part. But then you start judging yourself again, and it's just a whole, it's a whole conundrum. It's a back and forth. But this is the wormhole you gotta go through when it comes down to shadow work, dude. You, when you dive all the way down, you like weave. It's not just like a straight plummet. You weave. You have like all sorts of things to cross through. You're, oh my god, dude. It's, I don't know. The metaphysics of shadow work and root work are just comical, honestly, to talk about. They're because you're not, you're always gonna end up on the other side the second that you're aware of it, and it's so fucking funny. The second that you're like, oh, I'm like in this, I'm thinking of things in the spiritual, things immediately are already happening on the physical, and you're just in the moment of like, oh shit, things actually are moving, and then you're immediately back into the spiritual of it. You're never like consciously experiencing what state you're in unless you're like actually the observer and being neutral and not seeing things around you as good or bad or like amazing or awful. And it's so fucking funny because you'll look, oh, that's a beautiful sunset, like, yeah, that makes my heart feel good. Well, now you're spiritualizing it and you didn't even realize it. And then now that you realize that you're spiritualizing it, now you're reminded that it's a beautiful sunset because now you're judging it. It's not bad that you're judging it, but it's such a back and forth that it's just so funny. It's beautiful. But just staying in that existence space and being like, this is happening, and this is like beautiful. Like this is what I'm experiencing, and nothing else compares to it. Like nothing else can make me feel better, because if I lived someone else's life, I don't think I would really like it. I like doing what I do. I wouldn't like doing all that other stuff. I like this. And coming to that acceptance is like, oh shit, there's nothing wrong with me. And now you can start getting that abundance, because now it's like, oh, I'm not being blocked by, oh, you should be doing this and doing that and all these other things. Now you're just like, oh, I like this. I like this life I live. I just want to receive it in a more abundant way. Boom. Now you have more of what you like without feeling like you're doing something bad. And that's just, you know, allowing yourself to be that inner child again. What creative things do you desire to do? What things truly enlighten you or make you lighter or allow light to transpire through you? So you can be that beacon of hope for others, or even just be that beacon that you needed for yourself to prove to yourself that you could. Sometimes that's all you're here to do. Sometimes you're really only here to prove to you, well, certain things you're here to prove to yourself no matter what, right? But sometimes your only goal is just to prove that you can, because you really just didn't feel like you could. It's like it's just running a hypothesis on yourself. Like, I don't know if I can do this. Let me try it. Well, it's only you against you, so you have nothing really to lose, other than like maybe a bit of your like your strength in your mental department, because you'll feel like bad about it or something. Other than that, there's not much more to lose. And if you can prove to yourself that you can do it, then that's all you got. That's all you need. Fuck anyone else. You proved to yourself you did it. You have the proof yourself. You lived it. You experienced it. What everyone else says doesn't matter. It's okay. They don't have to agree with it. They don't have to even see it that way. They don't have to believe it. They don't have to do anything with it. It's there. It happened. Whether they experience it or not, it happened. It's too late. They can't change it. You know what I mean? It's why I don't get what people say, no, that didn't happen. Well, it did for them. It might not have happened historically or you know, factually, but for them in their way of life, the way that they see it, did whatever. You know, we're on two different worlds. You can keep that, I'll keep mine, and we are somehow quantum entangled together, and you know, you can't have one without the other. Dude, you cannot have one without the other. But survive our school, I feel that. Exactly, Daniel. People think like when I'm out in public, people think I'm stressed out. I'm hyper vigilant, dude. I fucking love looking at shit. I will like look. I like I people watch sometimes. Like I'm very intrigued in just experiencing what the fuck's going on in here, right? Because we don't really know, and I want to be the scientist that I'm supposed to be and study the realm around me and study like what I'm doing here and stuff. So I'm super observant, and I have people all the time like I don't think that you're like shy. I just think you're hyper aware. I'm like I'm very hyper aware, dude. I'm hyper vigilant, dude. Don't call me hyper aware. I'm hyper vigilant, dude. But it's not even because I'm stressed, because I'm not. It's I enjoy. It's that sensation, because all stress is you defining it as something. Stress just means that there's a friction happening, and that stress is energy. The emotion that people call stress is no different than excitement. It just matters if you can handle that type of energy. You can handle it mentally and physically, or if it becomes a hindrance and over encumbers you. Um, and I don't get stressed out in those situations. The only time I'll get stressed out is if I am debating on talking to someone or not, and I don't do it, which I used to do that a lot, and that would put me through a wormhole. But normally, I'm like very excited to be around people and experiencing how other people like live, like who they are, their fashion, and it's very interesting. It's not healthy at all. It's not healthy to do all the time. Um, but it is a good exercise to practice. I didn't mean to say it's not healthy at all. It's not healthy all the time. Um, that's why I don't go out that much. I go outside in nature, obviously, but like if I'm, going out in the town or something, I don't do it that much. I only DJ like once to every 2 months, right? Like I don't get a bunch of people around me that often, and even when I do get a bunch of people, it's like online, so it's less of me experiencing a more full versions of who you all are, and I just get to experience like the mental version of who you all. You know what I mean? You get what I mean? Like stripping away the AI theories and shit. What I'm experiencing right now, from my point of view, is like your all's mental viewpoints. I just get to know what's on your mind, what's your mental like at this time with these things. That's all I get to experience, right? But when you're around people in the physical, if you can sense their energy. Now you're picking up it on a spiritual sense. Now you're using higher realms of entanglement. Now they have colors and other sorts of vibrations to throw at you. More of who they are plastered onto them, uncensored, unfiltered, that you get to digest. Um, and that's just really like how I see it. That's how I walk around and do things. That's how I got over my stress. I used to have really bad social anxiety. I just have learned that it's okay not to talk, but I enjoy talking to people. I just had to get over the fear of asking people stupid questions of, "Oh, that's a cool shirt. Where'd you get that?" Or, "I like your style. Who are you?" Things of that nature. People like to talk about themselves. They really do. Ask someone who are you? What's your origin? Don't ask them that. But like, if you see someone interesting, be like, "Dude, what do you do? Like, what's up?" They'll tell you. If they don't, then they're just having their own moment. It has nothing to do with you. It has all the things to do with them. Just bring that childhood like excitement back, and that really allowed me to do it. Um, now that might not work for everyone, but that might be some guidance for someone. It's truly just like remove that blind from yourself, and really just be like, the only reason I'm stressed is because I'm overwhelmed, but I'm overwhelmed why? Like, because there's a bunch of vibrations around me. And some of these vibrations I like and some of them I don't. So why don't I focus on the ones, why don't I just scan the room, see which ones I like and don't like, and blend in more with the ones that I like. What are they doing? How are they moving in that sense? And not like becoming a robot in that, and mimicking them, but just getting into your own flow of their energy or the energy that you're enjoying. And then when you get into that full relaxed state, you get the full viewpoint. I had to do that for DJing a lot, because I don't look out in the crowd when I DJ. I'll look at the front row of people, and if they're enjoying it, I'll look more out into the crowd. Um, But that's what I do for DJing and my stress is that same thing. Is if I get worried about doing something, or like I make a small error up there that I think someone noticed, I'll just take a glance up at the front row, and if I don't see anyone that has any sort of like grossed out facial expression, I'm okay. And I'll look out to the rest of the crowd and be like, okay, everything's good, and go back to it. Just give it, like, you know what I mean? It's very interesting. I've because like I'm a stressful mess at times. I used to be heavily. I still am a little bit when it comes to certain things. I'm just also very hyper of an individual, so I get stressed out because I overwhelm myself either by over talking or overthinking. Everything like that. Overthinking mainly, but I don't know. I literally will talk to myself like that too. Like the way I'm talking to you are like describing who I am in that sense, and in like my methods. I will talk to myself like that sometimes, as like a checkup for myself to see like, am I still good doing this? I do this, I do that. I know that I'm this, I know that I'm that, and just keeping it like casual. I don't feel bad for saying what I'm saying, but it's definitely like, you know what I mean, like, because sometimes you feel bad about you saying something about yourself, and it's like, well, I am that, and you gotta feel that pity for a little bit. But I've got to the point where I can just talk about it. It's whatever. It's no longer a trauma dump because I don't hold any trauma attached to it. It might be trauma dump for someone else because it reminds them of a projection, or a side of them, or a reflection of them, of who they used to be, or what they're going through. But for me as an individual, it's no trauma attached to it, as it's been healed. There's no guilt. There's no shame to it. There's just a fact of that being a thing, and being okay with living with it. You know. And if if I needed to change it, I would, right? Like if my stutter was really, really, really bothering me, I would go to classes and get that shit fixed. It's not an issue because it actually doesn't bother me. It's something that I'm learning to work through. I've always had this stutter. I'm just working through it. There's nothing wrong with it. People stutter all the time. People stutter worse than me. I don't got nothing. I'm just experiencing like my own dilemma at that point, by feeling afraid of that, or. Yeah, see, that's the thing. I need to just learn how to talk slower. That's it. And I can. It's just sometimes I get hyper, and that's when the stutter pops out. But I don't uh it's not as bad as it used to be, dude. When I was a child and I got those energy bursts, I would go crazy. I have like, I think I have ADHD. I don't know. It's either ADHD or the fact that my birth mother, was on meth when I was born. So it's either the fact of that or ADHD. Either one, I don't know. I really don't care. I know how to live with it. But it used to get bad to where I would like scream talk, and it was just awful. But I feel when the energy comes up, and I use it for hyper focus, and that usually makes me talk more, well, faster. Yeah, I think a lot faster than I talk. I really do. It's a good thing, but it's also a curse because sometimes I'll think so fast that I just don't respond at all. It's like, you know what? I've in fact responded to this question in my head, and I just don't think it deserves a response because I've already responded to it. And I'll just sit there and look at people like, yeah, I do that all the time, and that shit cracks me up. It really does. Not exactly, Daniel. Sometimes, dude, word soup, and word salad, man. That's what I got. Um, I'm surprised sometimes subtitles pick up what I'm saying, and I've been trying to work with subtitles. I don't know. Some of them have subtitles, some of them don't. So I'm manually putting subtitles into like videos and stuff. I don't know like what's going on because like I everything in my settings is like correct for subtitles to be on videos. I'm pretty sure they're working, but if not, I have to like manually put them on. Because I do want subtitles on. I enjoy subtitles being on stuff for people, but it's just, I don't know. YouTube is just so weird. I don't know, like, I don't know. I'm missing something, obviously. But it's whatever. I've also been posting all those videos to TikTok and Instagram. I've been like all over the place. I've been talking about different stuff on different platforms, and I'm trying to like concise it all together. But I mean, it's like especially when people go into like deep dives, like extreme hermit modes, and they go into huge studyings and stuff. When you come out of that space, it doesn't matter if it's like for an hour or however long. It's like you want to talk about it, and it's not only just to talk about it; it's also to learn more about it, because you don't really know, like, is if you're holding an object, it's like, what does that feel like? It feels rough, and then you start to actually feel that it's like, oh, it does feel rough, and now it feels pointy and stuff. You don't really know what you're doing until you begin to mess with it, until you begin to, entangle yourself within, whatever you're doing, whether it's talking about a subject or touching objects or however, right? Yeah, you have to investigate it. See, word was just not coming to mind. Oh my lord. But yeah, I don't know. The healing journey is so interesting. Um, if it's, I don't know, it's not everyone has not everyone knows how to do it. I'll leave it like that, because I can't say it the other way without just fucking running in circles. So not everyone knows how to do it, but if you can at least take a week to not like talk about things, or to speak to anyone, 3 days to a week, really, like, don't be around anyone to change your mind, to sit in solitude for those days, you really begin to like ground and de-stress yourself and build up like who you are again. I'm Jennifer. I feel that I can't type fast enough either. I'll either type extremely fast and have typos all over the place, or, dude, I don't know. Opposite? Oh god, I feel that though. Eventually, we'll be at a point where we don't have to worry about stuff like that. I don't know when. Exactly. See, that's why I like having the talks that like in here, because I asked him like, what do you mean by that? And it's not. Sometimes I'll ask that, and it's not because I don't know like what they're asking. I just want to know more of like where they're coming from, so I don't shoot a dart over. Okay, cool, awesome. So I don't shoot a dart over their head. I don't know why I got like stopped from saying that anyway. But I'll always ask that, because it's important. If we're gonna learn about being more connective and showing more love, will come from another person's perspective. One love. The golden rule: treat others how you want to be treated. I want to know your point of view, so I'm gonna respect you and ask you, your questions. Oh, word, Jennifer, my bad. Healing, no, healing is never gonna end. Healing is a lifelong journey. It's actually an eternity. You heal for an eternity. You'll never stop healing. It won't be about the same things, and the healing will never feel the same. Sometimes it won't feel like anything, but we will always be healing. Not on just a spiritual level, but on a physical level too. We're always moving. I don't, dude. I've gone down rabbit holes with people that we're not ready to go down rabbit holes. So certain things I'm gonna keep to myself, so I don't bust no one's brain open. But yeah, life is a crazy fucking thing, man. And especially when you start thinking about quantum physics, quantum entanglement and shit. Then it starts getting weird. Cause I'll say it this way, because this way allows your mind to go on its own path. The only reason why you're alive right now is because you don't match the frequency of being not in this state with another timeline. Because there's like infinite timelines happening, and everything's happening in all those timelines. You're literally only resonating with one specific like main frequency that has a bunch of microtones in it, or Zen harmonics, or micro frequencies in it, that are keeping you within that same vibration, or in that same path. Because there's off branches of of each movement that happens. Every time a movement happens, a ripple's made. But yeah, the only reason why anyone is alive at any point in time is because they just the timeline of them being deceased at that exact moment in space and time, going down to the smallest fraction, is because they just don't align with it. It's just not them. They've dodged it somehow. They did not take an incorrect action, so to speak. Not that there's a right or wrong action to take. It's just, I mean, well, there is. You just don't fucking know. We don't know. That's why I don't want to talk about it, because it can be a little anxiety-inducing for those that aren't ready. Because I dived down that rabbit hole with one of my friends, and they did not like it. They got a little bit scared, and I was like, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to scare you. I'm just telling you, though. Like, quantum physics, dude, will shake your shit up if you start comparing it to everything around you. If you start applying the multiverse theory and what happens in this life and how it happens in other lifetimes and timelines and shit, dude, shit gets freaky very quick. I hope the internet on my phone did not die. It doesn't look like it. It looks like it's fine. The laptop internet went out. Not a fatal error. Let's see. But yeah, I'm still on. Yeah, I'm still up. Never mind. I'm good. It's not saying reconnecting. I don't know though. Metaphysics is just so weird, dude. Yeah, if anyone else has any questions about like egregores, like the rational mind, or anything else, let me know. And thank you, Joe, for stopping in. My night has already been very, very swell. I can't even lie. I've had a beautiful, like, month. I'm glad to see the flames are going good. I finally got to buy some candles recently. I'm happy about those. I went to the dollar store. One cannot be completed without the other. Exactly. It's refinement. It's not about change. It's about building on what you already got. You know, making it stronger, keeping it within its same state, but just allowing it to be more dependable, using it more, giving it more experience, allowing it to mature. Dang, it's getting dark. What the hell? Damn. I did not realize. It's like, what, it's 8 o'clock? It's bright as hell outside. It's just the room. The sun is no longer at the angle it needs to be at. But yeah, I'm probably gonna hop off. Tomorrow we will dive into a subject I can kind of ramble about more. And kind of go down different pathways with. It'll be about, I feel like talking about rework or something. I don't know. We'll figure it out tomorrow. We will figure it out tomorrow. I need to not plan things ahead of time. I just need to let things happen naturally at this point. Let me do this real quick before I do the outro thing. But there's that information there. I will be back tomorrow. I'm gonna stream a few times tomorrow though. That's something for sure. I'm gonna try and do like an early rising stream and then like an afternoon streamish. Just I want to stream a little bit more. Regardless though, all the information's there. The email's there. Donation links if you want to donate. The website that I have where you can get the services that I offer. If you use the code LOVE at checkout, you get 60% off total. Regardless though, thank you all for being here. Thank you all for sharing the energy, sharing your thoughts, and taking time just to be here. I truly do enjoy your company. It is truly lovely to be here. I love you all so much. To the moon and back, tenfold and forever. And